Thank you. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, as always, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So everybody please rise. And Councilman Schneider, would you lead us tonight, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you please remain standing for a moment of silence and reflect upon the sacrifices that our servicemen and women make on a daily basis, ensuring our freedoms in our way. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Okay, once again, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for being here, and thank you all at home for watching this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Sorry for the delay in coming, starting here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. The board went over to the planning board meeting that's taking place this evening also, and we went over there to thank Harold Gary, a longtime member of the planning board. He served as chairman of that planning board for many, many years. Harold's retiring at the end of this year, so we wanted to go over and just give our best to him and thank him for his years of service on the planning board. Wished him, best of luck going forward, his future in retirement, and we just felt it was appropriate. His final meeting, he served with the town of Carmel for 34 years, so he's had a real lengthy tenure here with the town of Carmel. So it was only fitting for us to go over there and extend our thanks and appreciation to Mr. Gary, and we appreciate his service to the town. Okay, so for the record, all town board members are present with us this evening, as is our town clerk, Ann Spofford. All the way down to my right, down to my left is Greg Fulchetti. He's the Carmel town attorney, and all members of the board are present tonight as well. At 6 p.m., the town board met in an executive session with Michael Simone, our highway superintendent, to discuss a personnel matter, and the town board also interviewed a candidate for our board of assessment review as well. So we're in the back room in executive session at 6 p.m. So tonight we have a public hearing. Public hearing number one is to hear objections to assessment rolls for the operation and maintenance of the improvements of the sewer and water districts for fiscal year 2019. So I'm going to ask our town clerk, Ann Spofford, can you please read the notice of the public hearing?
Notice is hereby given that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, pursuant to Town Law Section 202-A, will conduct a public hearing at the Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, on Wednesday, December 12, 2018, at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter that evening as possible for the following purpose: to consider the 2019 tentative assessment rolls of Carmel Sewer Districts number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and extensions thereto, as well as Carmel Water Districts number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, and extensions thereto, as well as the Town of Carmel Garbage District. Be it further noticed that the 2019 tentative assessment rolls may be inspected at the Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, during normal business hours. At said public hearing, all interested persons shall be heard on the subject thereof. The Town Board will make every effort to assure that the public hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Anyone requiring special assistance and/or reasonable accommodations should contact the Town Clerk. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, Ann Spofford, Town Clerk.
Okay, thank you, Ann, for the reading of the notice of the public hearing. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
So moved by Councilwoman McDonough, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, public hearing's open. Is there any residents here that would like to come up at this time and comment on the public hearing? This is to hear objections to the assessment rolls for the operation and maintenance of the improvements of the sewer and water districts for fiscal year 2019. Is there anyone here that would like to comment? Okay, being there's no one here to comment, I need a motion to close the public hearing. So moved by Councilwoman McDonough. Seconded by Councilman Schneider. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So the next item on the agenda is also, this is a public hearing that we held a week or so ago on a proposed local law amending Chapter 89 of the Code of the Town of Carmel entitled Freshwater Wetlands. At this time, I request that we hold this over until January 16th, 2019. In order for me to do that, or for us to hold it over, I need a motion from the town board to do so.
Second.
Okay, so moved by Councilman Schneider and Councilwoman McDonough, and it's seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. Do we need a roll call vote on that, Ann, or just all in favor?
All in favor?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so this is being held over until January 16th of 2019, and the reason we're holding it over is the public hearing is still open on that, and we're anticipating written comments that will be submitted to the town board for consideration between now and January 16th. So we wanted to hold it open to give those residents an opportunity to provide the written comments to the town board to be considered for the, when we review and approve the amendment to Chapter 89. All right.
I'd like to make a request on that as well, that when it is in its final form, that we just forward off a copy to ECB for their
Yeah.
final review,
Mhm.
just to see if there's anything that we may have overlooked, because I know that we did have a few things that we had addressed, and I believe that we had everything ironed out and on the same field, so I just want to make sure that
We
they
cover
see
it.
it as well, and that we're all good there.
Yep, that's fine.
Great,
Yep.
thank you.
Totally agree with that. Everybody else good with that? Okay. All right. Okay, so we do have a resolution tonight, and the resolution for the special voting meeting is a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel authorizing the town supervisor to submit on the town's behalf reply comments to the Federal Communications Commission in the matter of the implementation of Section 621A, Sub 1 of the Cable Communications Policy Act of 1984, as amended by the Cable Television Consumer Protection and Competition Act of 1992. So I'm going to ask Councilman Schneider to please read resolution number 1.
Whereas on September 25th, 2018, the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, issued a second further notice of proposed rulemaking, docket number 05-311, in the matter of implementation of Section 621A, Sub 1 of the Cable Communications Policy Act of 1984 as amended by the Cable Television Consumer Protection and Competition Act of 1992. And whereas, okay,
Competition Act?
Competition Act of 1992, the FNPRM, and whereas the FNPRM is intended to address two issues raised by a remand from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit regarding how local franchising authorities may regulate cable operators, and whereas through the FNPRM process, the FCC is considering adopting rules that would limit the consideration for which local governments can negotiate with cable television franchisees operating in public rights-of-way to only a franchise fee of no more than 5%, and whereas under the proposed rules, other in-kind benefits that cities and counties have historically negotiated for with cable television companies, such as PEG channel capacity and complementary services to public facilities, would have to be offset against franchise fee revenue, which is only intended to act as a rental payment for use in the public rights of way. Whereas these limits are offsetting requirements could force local governments to choose between adequately funding local public access, educational and government programming, and maintaining the franchise fee contribution to their general funds. And whereas the Town of Carmel's Cable Advisory Committee supports maintaining local franchising authority to preserve local government's ability to negotiate in the public interest for cable channel space, institutional networks, and public education and government programming. And whereas over the past several weeks, members of the Town of Carmel Cable Advisory Committee have filed comments opposing the proposed FCC rules, and whereas comments on the FNPRM and reply comments are due on December 14, 2018, and whereas the Town of Carmel believes it is important that the town show its opposition to the FCC's proposed rules and its support for the position taken by the Town of Carmel Cable Advisory Committee, now therefore be it resolved by the Town of Carmel Town Board as follows. Section 1, the Town Board hereby makes and adopts the determination and findings contained in the recitals set forth above. In Section 2, the Town Supervisor is hereby authorized to work with the Town of Carmel Cable Advisory Committee to prepare and submit reply comments to the FCC on the town's behalf and the FCC's webpage supporting the Town of Carmel Cable Advisory Committee comments and opposing the FCC's proposed rules in the matter described above. I offer the resolution as read.
Okay, offered by Councilman Schneider, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Roll call vote.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Schneider?
Yes.
Councilman Bernacci?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Supervisor Schmidt?
Yes, motion carried, thank you.
And Kenny, if you don't mind, I want to thank the Carmel Cable Committee for bringing this to our attention. And Armanda sent us a letter not too long ago regarding this, that if it's enacted, not only could the $810,000 that the town receives be eliminated, but so could the broadcast of government meetings, educational public access programming, cable infrastructure, cable access equipment to government buildings, schools, studios, and dedicated broadcast channels. And it would be a serious blow to the Carmel's revenue and our community. So that was from Armanda. So I just wanted to thank them for bringing this to our attention. And I believe you're also sending out a letter, too. So
Yes.
we're being very proactive in trying to, submit our opposition to it.
Yeah, no question about it, Sue. The Cable TV Committee, Advisory Committee, they're to be commended,
Yeah,
as you said, for bringing this issue to us.
yes.
And making us aware of it, that,
Yeah.
that
Because
it
otherwise
was
it would just
considerable amount of money.
flown underneath the radar, and all of a sudden, everybody just loses everything. You have no, government
Right.
channel.
It's almost like
you have
losing
no
the state revenue from
BCC.
the mortgage tax.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Big money.
So,
yeah,
it's
Exactly.
a big thing, so thank you to them.
yeah. no.
Absolutely, great job.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Hopefully, it makes a difference.
Well, I'm
Okay.
hoping all the other towns do it.
All right, so, thank you, Ann. I need a motion to close the special voting meeting.
So moved.
So moved by Councilwoman McDonough, seconded by
Second.
Councilman Schneider. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to open up the town board work session now. I need a motion for that.
So moved.
So moved by Councilwoman McDonough. I'll second it. All those in favor to open the work session? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, so the first item on the work session agenda tonight, John Mulvaney is here from the Mahopac Falls Volunteer Fire Department. Welcome, John. Thanks for being here. This is considered for a resolution of support for IRS Section 147F for the finance and purchase of 2 new fire trucks for the Mahopac Falls Fire Department. How are you, John?
Fine, thank you.
I didn't steal your thunder, did I?
Of course not.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Nice segue, though. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Again, the reason I'm here tonight, Councilwoman and gentlemen, is the Mahopac Falls Volunteer Fire Department is in the process of purchasing 2 new tanker pumpers to replace vehicles in our fleet that are over 30 years old. In doing so, the cost of said equipment is to be at $1.2 million. As we've had in the past, and as I've come to you in the past asking for your help, we are entitled to municipal monies, which gives us the opportunity to borrow money at a below-market rate. In order to do so, there's a requirement from the IRS 147F, which basically asks that Supervisor Schmidt sign a letter as well, in addition to our president, indicating that the fire department is the fire department, okay, provides fire protection services, okay, to the District 1 of the town of Carmel, that we have a contract with the town, and that we have every intentions of continuing, okay, to provide services. Also, in that paragraph that's required, it does clearly state, okay, that there is no financial obligation for the town, okay, that the fire department is assuming all complete responsibility for the financial obligations set forth. Okay, so again, I come before you basically to refresh your memory of what we did back in 2016, okay? And there's really 2 significant requirements that are from the IRS. One is that publish a notice in the local publication and have a meeting no sooner than 14 days. So we published a notice last week, okay, and the Mahopac News, the fire department will be holding a public meeting, as mentioned, okay, on the 20th of this month. So that will take care of the first requirement, okay, from the IRS, and then the second requirement is the resolution, okay, that I need from the town.
Okay, perfect.
So,
Okay. All right. John, I just have one question.
Certainly.
Can you tell us the ages of the trucks that are being replaced?
both trucks were purchased in 1989. They're 30 years old.
30 years old. All right, so they
They have
They
certainly
probably
lived a
serve,
useful life.
they serve the Mahopac
Community
Falls
well.
Fire District well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so they probably gotten to the point where they need to be replaced, so, I'm sure.
The trucks
why you're here.
were overhauled, okay, and refurbed about 10 years ago. When they hit the 20-year mark, it's to the point now that they really cannot be refurbed again, okay? And also with all of the new OSHA requirements and guidelines that have come along, okay? They certainly wouldn't pass those requirements today.
Are you, and this is really informational purposes, planning on financing the whole 1.2 million for the 2 tankers, or are
Yes,
you
sir.
looking, yes? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have an idea on rates right now?
Yes, we do, okay? We're proposing a 7-year fixed lease, which will be at sub 4%. So we'll be under 4%.
That's great. And it's only 7 years, because life expectancy being 25, 30 years, we'll definitely get our monies out of it. That's
Sure.
great. Thank you.
Sure. Well, like I said, we're trying to pay that off in anticipation of other capital purchases coming down the pike in another 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Sure. Always replacing machinery at some point.
True.
Absolutely.
You know, John, I want you to know that the Mapac Falls Fire Department, along with the other fire departments, do an outstanding job of protecting, property and residents of the town of Carmel.
Thank you.
So it's exceptional work that you guys do, and we appreciate it. They're all volunteers. You're all volunteers, and you guys really step up to the plate when it comes to EMS calls and fire protection as well. So we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Please convey that to your membership.
I will.
And as is the other fire departments also. They do great work as well, outstanding work. So you guys all work well together, so.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you for the candy cane
Thank
run
you.
as well.
Actually, sir, that'll be this Saturday.
That's coming up this Saturday, right? You may have heard the sirens last Saturday. That was
It was
the
Mahopac.
That
Mahopac
was
Fire
Mahopac
Department.
Fire District,
Falls
right.
Fire Department will be covering the area
Saturday.
Saturday.
Rain
And
or
collecting Toys for Tots as
And
usual.
collecting the toys for
Always.
tots as well.
Thank you guys so much for all the
Appreciate it.
support. Thanks for everything you do in the neighborhood. Thank
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Okay, next item on the agenda, actually, he's here for 2, 3, and 4 is Police Chief Mike Kazari. So the first item the chief is here for is to consider request to schedule a public hearing to amend Chapter 147 of the Town Code entitled Vehicle and Traffic. Chief, welcome.
Thanks. Chief, nice computer. Thanks. All right, so,
Sorry, Chief. Go ahead.
okay. So the 2 vehicle and traffic issues, the first one, looking for no standing. If you remember Rolling Greens, Baldwin Place Road, across from the high school, you got Muscoot Road North and Glenida Boulevard. There's no parking the whole length of that, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Currently having an issue with vehicles stopping on those roads and picking children up, which they're running across Baldwin Place Road, which is dangerous, in between school buses and the whole thing. Just looking for no standing so that we can legally tell the people not to wait for their children there and not have an issue. That's the simple one.
Mike, I understand that. On one question, though. DNT 147, that would fall under the letter you sent us, too, about Union Valley, isn't it? Union Valley and Route 6?
I would think so.
Because I would ask is, put them both on for the same thing instead of having 2 public hearings.
Yes,
I think we'd have to just add it to the list here, right?
yes, I had written,
Yes?
Yeah, just easier to do it at once.
yes, so I had written you, the board, if you remember, I think weeks ago, about I thought that it was dangerous vehicles coming onto the old part of Old Union Valley Road there, you know, if they're going towards Carmel from Jefferson Valley, you know, they come over that hill, it's kind of blind, you can't see if somebody stopped right there. I was suggesting it would be good if we could just stop traffic from going through. The residents there, there's the two houses, they didn't have a problem with that, I thought, for safety purposes. So if you added that, that would be,
Everybody's just avoiding the light,
yeah.
Which is
and they're
illegal.
not slowing down from
Well,
50 to 60 miles an hour.
They're not technically avoiding the light because they're taking another road. Avoiding the light would be going through a parking lot to avoid the light. But yeah, they're trying to cut through, but they don't slow up, they just fly through there, which I feel is dangerous.
So you want to make it one way?
No, it already is one way coming out. I would
No
say
through
just don't let cars come from 6.
There's
Just
no through
block
traffic,
it
one way to
there.
Do it both ways.
Got it.
Just block it up at the top there. Take the crest out of it. Then the other
Block it,
issue,
Mike, to block it completely off?
I would block.
it off?
I would propose blocking it completely off. That's, you know, of course, up to the board and highway superintendent, but,
I was gonna say, the highway superintendent's gonna have to weigh in on it.
yeah,
also.
And I saw him about it too.
yeah.
Okay.
But that's not in front of us right
No.
now.
No, I had written that,
You guys
that,
are freaking killing me today. Killing me.
I had made that request, and I guess that didn't come before the board. I should have made sure that that was put up when I was coming,
No.
yeah. And the other thing that I snuck in here last minute, I was looking at Ryan Court. Ryan Court is that short cul-de-sac just down from the high school.
Yeah.
So vehicles are parking there, and the kids are walking to the high school. So I spoke to the highway superintendent, who told me he's been getting complaints about that from residents also. So if we did the same ordinance that we have on Rolling Greens, which is 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and also we have that same thing on Carmine and Charles on the other side by, off of Myrtle Avenue, I think it only makes sense to have it all be the same and try to limit the children or the young adults' ability to walk down Bowling Place Road, especially when the winter comes and there's snow all over that road. You really want them walking down the road.
So Mike, do you want to just be very proactive and also put no standing there also? Because then eventually maybe if you put the no standing, where you guys are saying over here, then they'll move, then the parents or whomever may move down below, and then we're gonna be in front of us again.
Perhaps,
So,
perhaps.
I mean, just think about that. I would suggest putting no parking, no standing on both spots, so, it's just a suggestion.
That's, if we're putting signs up, we might as well do the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, on Ryan Court.
Sure, that is a good idea.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was too far and they wouldn't, but I guess
You
if
never
they're
know.
desperate, they'll park down the road,
Yeah.
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 I got a call, Chief, I got a call today from a resident on Ryan Court.
You did.
I did, yeah, and I was gonna call you on it.
See that?
But too tied up today to get hold of you. But,
Yeah, I went out and looked at that, and I wanted to make sure that the residents really were complaining. I didn't want to have a hearing and have the residents
Yeah.
come in and say, you know, why are you doing this on my road? So the residents are complaining, that is confirmed.
I'll tell you what the gentleman said to me was, it started out with 1 or 2 cars, and now it's 12.
Yes.
Between 9 and 12, so it's growing. There's
Yeah.
more parking over there.
But they're far enough from the stop sign that we can't ticket them for that, and they're stopping before the turn, so they do know where they can legally park at this time. But I would like to dissuade
Yeah.
that,
No, I agree.
Do all three at the same one?
We can we'll support that. Yeah.
trying.
Yeah. Everybody good with this item?
Yes.
All right, next one, Chief, is consider request to advertise for bids for the purchase of police uniforms.
Right, so every year, we've been putting out the bid for uniforms. Currently, we do have a really good vendor in New England Uniform in Danbury, Connecticut. Just the turnaround has been really slow. They've got excuses for why it's taking so long to get uniforms. But I'd like to put out the bid and see if we can get something that's a little bit better for our people.
Yeah, okay. All right, any questions, comments for the chief regarding going out to bid for the purchase of police uniforms? Nope. Okay, go to number 4, Chief. Consider request to renew agreement for cleaning of police uniforms.
Well, hold on, I do for
You
the,
do? Okay.
part of this bid, or part of the requirements, are you gonna put like a turnaround time? You write that into the specs, so they're held to a specific time, because if this current company comes back as the lowest bidder again, but has bad times, you know, at least, you know,
Well, I looked at that you are not a reliable bidder, I think is the term. Responsible bidder.
Oh, responsible.
Responsible bidder. I was thinking you're not a responsible bidder if you're giving us summer uniforms in the winter, and it takes us till the next winter to get, you know, winter uniforms again. Like, we need things within a couple of months. It can't be. But you're right, we could research perhaps adding some language to that effect of,
you know, 30 days, you know, I mean,
Good
buy everything on
suggestion.
Amazon.
yeah. Well, that's what the county has been doing, is buying uniforms on Amazon and sending them out, because they're having the same issues, and it's killing them.
Here, right?
Yep. So, yeah, Mike, so just add it to
Thank
number
you.
5.
So it'll be five, number 5 on your instructions to bidders? 30 days?
Yeah, whatever you guys deem,
Whatever.
you know, appropriate, but I would recommend adding a time frame.
Yeah, I agree, John. Yeah, good. point.
Yes, I'll add that on there. A reasonable time, we'll have to
Yeah,
figure
whatever
that
you,
out.
whatever you guys feel is appropriate.
And then the last item that I have is,
So, Chief, if you don't mind, but before, since you're still talking about purchasing, and you did just say that the county is already purchasing their own uniforms on Amazon already,
which is it, that's not cost effective to buy them on Amazon, then you have to go to the dry cleaner.
Right.
then you got to go to a tailor, right? That's
They go
what I
to
was
a-
wondering, is that, do they already have a contract with a tailor for
No,
each
they're
thing?
just, they're using Tommy Carroll, who's a retired Kent cop. He's got their dry cleaning bid in the town of Kent, where he is on 52. Yeah, it's costing them more money to do it that way.
Okay.
But you have to have a uniform. And you see that with the servicemen over in Afghanistan and Iraq, that they need uniforms, and it takes too long for them to get them, and that's why there's groups that raise money for them for that. It's similar to that. The officer needs a uniform today, not next summer. So it's just not a good thing. And then the last item was that we had put a 3-year we had put in our contract for dry cleaning and for uniform bid that we can renew it 3 times. So I'm just asking to renew the contract for the dry cleaning. We're really happy with the dry cleaner in the middle of town, Mayapack Laundry Aid. They're, you know,
So is this,
very long hours, they're open 7 days a week. You can't really beat that.
so this
Do
is
they do
the-
pickup and delivery?
No, but they would if
They do
we
for-
wrote
yeah.
that in, but it's
so
in the
Mike,
middle of
this is-
town.
This is the third, like, year option, right?
This is our second year.
Second, okay, so we have one more year. Perfect.
Yeah, they're great there.
Yeah, and
They're very
their
good.
price is actually lower than we've had before, and they're doing a great job.
Yeah,
Great.
they're good. Okay, perfect.
Any
Thank
further
you.
questions? Okay, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, I just spoke to Mike Carnazza. He's actually next door at the planning board meeting, and he asked me to cover his agenda item for him. So I'll do that. There's a memo here from Mike Carnazza, the Director of Code Enforcement. This is regarding property maintenance cleanups, and he's requesting permission to get bids to clean the following properties. The building department has received many complaints, and nothing is being done by the property owners to maintain their property. So there's 5 properties, 1, 2,
Let the
3,
public
4,
know, Kenny,
5.
that they're probably foreclosures and the banks are not responding.
Yeah, these are probably all foreclosures, and the lender, the banks, are just not responding to the building inspector's request to clean the property. So we'll authorize the cleanups, a contractor will clean those properties up, but we're not gonna be out the money. We're gonna get the money back, either from the banks. Once we notify them that we cleaned it up, we'll send them an invoice for the cleanup, and we expect them to pay it. But if they refuse to pay it, we'll get the money back at the end of the year. The property will be re-levied, and we'll collect the money from the county, will make the town whole, so we're not out the money. Then the county will then go to collect that money, the cost of it, from the property owner when the property is sold or transferred to a new owner. So there's 5 properties here. I'm just gonna read, one is Cross Hill Road in Mayapack. The other's Cross Drive in Mahopac, 615 Route 6N, Mahopac, 313 Oak Road West in Mahopac, and 30 Shore Drive in Mahopac. So these are properties where the grass is tall, weeds are grown all over the property. There might be litter and debris on the property as well. It looks unsightly. If you live in that neighborhood and you have this house across the street from you, it's bad. So they're going to get cleaned up. These are the 5 that the building inspector identified. So he'll contact the contractor who's going to, will clean those properties up. But we have to give authorization to the building inspector to go ahead and get that done. So any questions, comments, concerns about the property cleanups? No.
I'm
We've
just
done
glad-
this before.
I'm glad our building inspector is doing it. I know
Yeah.
it took us a few years since I was on the town board to get it going, but he keeps them coming now, and it
And-
looks great.
The way we learn about some of these, and Mike, you may have said it, is by residents that live either in the neighborhood or, within eye shot of the house. They'll call and complain about it, and we'll go out, take a look at it, and it's confirmed. And we do make attempts to try to get the banks to cooperate, but in some cases they do, in other cases they don't, then we have to step in. So that's why we're doing this. All right, next item on the agenda is number 6, Mike Simone, Highway Superintendent of the Town of Carmel. This is to consider request to declare old equipment obsolete and authorize disposal, and request to replace and purchase a medium-used truck with a plow. Mike?
Yes, thank you. This winter, which has not been winter yet, has not been kind to us. In November, prior to the first snowstorm of the year, one of my employees had a pretty substantial accident, and one of our small plow trucks was totaled, and that's one of the trucks we're talking about here.
Out of no fault?
Out of no fault of his own, unfortunately, a tow truck crossed a double yellow line and hit him directly head-on. He's still out right now, hopefully getting better, but did total a very good plow truck in that action. We have settled with the insurance company, and we will be getting money back on this. They will be taking it from us. On our first snowstorm, which was supposed to be a 1 to 3 inch snowstorm, turned out to be an 8.5 to 12 inch snowstorm. 1 to 3s, we get the bugs out. 8 to 12, we find out what really needs more than bugs, and unfortunately, we lost another one of our small plow trucks, our number 15, which is a 2003 GMC. The engine is blown, and as the board and Kenny realized that replacing an engine is not cheap, and on this truck, it's not even worth it, so I would like to also scrap this one. Also, at this point, with moving some monies around and using this budget, not looking for other monies from the board, I would like to go out and purchase something, because at this point, I'm really short of my small trucks. So we are now looking for something up to the neighborhood of $30,000 to purchase. We're going to have, I think it's $9,400 or $9,300 coming from insurance for the truck too, but we do have monies in our budget so that I would be, but I need to ask you, because it's going to be in excess of $20,000 to purchase a truck when we do find it. So I'm trying to be proactive. We're looking every day. When we do find something, we're going to find something with a plow, four-wheel drive, that we can put back into the fleet quickly, so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, Mike. Not a problem. Jonathan, all good?
All good.
All right, Mike.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thanks, Mike.
appreciate it, Mike, thank you. All right, next, Mary Ann Maxwell, the town controller. She's here for number 7 and 8. So Mary Ann, number 7 is to consider budget revisions November of 2018.
Good evening. I'm just handing out another budget revision that I'll go over as well. The budget revisions for November. In the general fund, we're providing for the reimbursement to the capital fund for a survey that was performed in 2007 relating to the abandoned Woodcrest Gardens capital project. The cost of that survey was $10,249. Number 2, in the general fund, we're transferring for employee pay increases per the settled CSEA contract. The total CSEA increases the transfer is $26,384, and that's coming from the town board reserve compensation line. Number 5, in the general fund, we're transferring $20,000 for police retiree health insurance cost. Number 6, in the general fund, we're transferring $2,500 for code enforcement staff overtime expense. Number 7, in the general fund, we're transferring $11,100 for a highway admin retiree health insurance cost. Number 8, in the general fund, we're transferring $2,500 for recreation staff overtime expense and $2,300 for youth program temporary staff expense. And that's coming from other lines in the recreation budget. Also in the recreation budget, we're transferring a total of $1,300 for miscellaneous recreation expenses. In the highway fund, we're transferring $30,000 for machinery repair expenses and $1,500 for equipment lease and rental expense. In the Lake Cassie Park District, we're transferring a total of $4,000 for utility miscellaneous expenses anticipated before year end. In Carmel Water District number 2, we're transferring $10,000 for the purchase of a pump. In Carmel Sewer District number 2, we're transferring for miscellaneous expenses, including the purchase of a generator. The total cost of those expenses is $25,000. In Carmel Sewer District number 4, we're transferring from the fund balance a total of $60,000 for microfiltration expenses for the UV bulbs and other contractual expenses. In Carmel Sewer District number 5, we're transferring $3,000 for contractual expenses. And in Carmel Lighting District, we're providing for $7,500 from an insurance claim for contractual expenses in that lighting district. And the one I just handed out, this is an invoice that we sent out. This is to provide for the cost to repair the emergency water main break in Water District 14 due to the damage that was done by a contractor in the airport property, airport park property project. We did send this invoice out, and the payment is pending. So we just have to provide for that expense, from the revenue that is expected.
Saw that, Mary Ann.
Okay?
Yeah, so that went out?
Yes, the invoice did go out.
Okay.
So we just need to make that
So
transfer.
we're gonna wait, are we gonna wait on that payment before?
Yes,
Is
yes.
that what you said? Okay.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but I just have to do the budget transfer in order, because that expense line is over budget right now
Okay,
in Water District 14.
okay.
Mary Ann, if any contractors, if we sent out an invoice and they don't pay in a reasonable time, do we get a percentage? Because I notice on some of the others that if they're not, paid within a certain amount of time, that they're charged like a percentage. Are we allowed to do that as a municipality? You know what I'm saying? Like if we
Yeah,
send
like
this.
a 10%.
If we send this out and say they take 90 days, you give them 45 days to pay, and if they don't pay, then they're, anybody gets a bill. If you don't pay on time, you have to pay a finance charge or a fee.
Yeah, I mean, we
a
do with our
penalty.
water bills, we do a 10%.
Right, but I'm wondering,
on an invoice.
with something like this, I mean, we can't do it this, I'm just wondering. Because then I'm sure they're gonna pay, they're great people, great
Yeah,
company.
I mean-
But just something to think of for the future.
With the invoices that we send out for the property cleanups, if they don't pay, we levy it on their taxes.
It's just something to think about, just to add, if they don't pay like 45 days, add a percentage to it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Kind of like they have on, is it B&J's or whatever?
Yeah.
Look at the bottom of B&J, something like that,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
all right?
All right, thanks, Sue. Mary Ann, you have one more, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is to consider request to amend the Town of Carmel procurement policy.
Yes, the only amendment that we have on this is if you turn to the last page, it's removing Bobby Erickson and adding Michael Martin as a deputy highway superintendent. We did review this procurement policy. It seems to be working well, so, it's, so I don't anticipate we need to make any other changes to the procurement policy.
Have to adopt it every year
We
anyway.
continue to follow it, so.
Do it next week. That takes one more thing off the first January meeting.
Right.
All right, so
We
have-
usually do this on the organizational meeting, but it could be done next week.
So we'll do it next week.
Yes.
All right.
So,
So that'll be off
It
the
would be
agenda for the organizational. meeting.
Organizational, yeah.
Right, Ann? Did you have
Thanks,
it?
Marion.
It's gonna be, okay. All right, thanks, Mary Ann.
Yep.
All right, next, the next two are Rich Franzetti, the town engineer. So that's number 9, and that's to consider request for a bond reduction for Random Ridge. That's the subdivision up off of Kennecott Hill Road with 28 homes. Just board members that aren't familiar with Random Ridge. Am I correct, Rich?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Take it away.
Yeah, oh, here we go.
You know where that is.
So on November 28th, 18, the planning board passed a motion recommending a bond reduction for the Random Ridge property. There's a document there that needs to be signed, but this is in response to the applicant. The engineering department performed a field inspection on November 14th, along with numerous field inspections throughout the duration of this construction to evaluate the status of site construction. The results of the investigation of the November 14th site visit showed that the original bond, that they have provided us a breakdown of what they want bonds returned for. We have no problem with the summary that they gave us based on our site inspection. So currently, the bond being held is $1,967,000. They've submitted work that they have about $334,000 remaining. However, it's the policy of the planning board not to entertain bond reductions below 20% of the original bond amount. Therefore, we recommend the bond be reduced to leaving a balance of $393,400.
Rich, that's the subdivision that has the septic area that's part of the road dedication, right? It's a public septic area for that subdivision. They don't have individual septics there?
Correct. There is a public septic system there. There's no road dedication being there. That those town roads are not being dedicated to the town.
They're not going to be dedicated?
No, and the septics, it's a community septic that's been approved, or reviewed and approved by the county.
Yeah, I remember it from 20-some-odd years ago. So this road is not going to be dedicated to the town?
No, it was not built to town specifications.
So 10 years from now, Mike, 15 years from now, it's not up to town codes, we can never take it. All right. As long as it's their road, I don't have a problem. I just have a problem with 400,000 for top coating and finishing. You know, there's not enough money there to finish that, but the homeowners don't care. You know, we don't care as long as they understand. And don't come here in 10 years and ask us to take the road.
Correct.
And then, Rich,
There's definitely not enough money there left to finish it.
Correct.
they did all of the landscaping and everything that they're supposed to do?
They still have
I
work to,
didn't see
they
the
still have
bond.
some work to do with
I'm
that, so
not
the answer is
comfortable
yes,
with
but that's why there's still remaining bonds in there. Bond money in there. So-
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's why it took so long. I mean, it's an
Okay.
uncomfortable statement to have the highway superintendent nod his head, have you nod your head, when I say there's not enough money there, and yet we're lowering the bond. It's just something that's crazy here. As long as it's not a town road, I'm okay, but
They are, Mike,
when a town,
they will, those homeowners will one day come to the town board.
well, I know,
You
but
know
I'm
that,
saying,
yeah.
if our town engineer and our town highway superintendent acknowledge that, and I've done it, that number's not enough.
Not enough.
So why are we lowering it?
Procedurally, what would happen in that circumstance is that typically you form a highway improvement district, a road improvement district. And I think, is it 18 feet minimum on the road improvement districts in our code? Width, okay. So if the roads are up to 18 feet, town could consider taking them, but they would have to be improved. The residents, the owners of the proposed district would have to pay for the capital improvements, which is typically done by a borrowing. And then after the improvements are done and they're financed, and the debt's paid off, then the roads can be dedicated to the town. You're doing it in other areas now. You did Long Pond Road Improvement District back in 2014. It's just about done. A little different, those are a little older roads.
But it's a setup for failure. I mean, as soon as the school bus doesn't go down to the end cul-de-sac to pick up a couple kids, the parents are gonna be in here.
Right,
So,
I agree.
for the record, you know, whoever bought in Random Ridge, as long as you're aware of the situation, I don't have a problem, but I don't think there's enough money being held.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Any other questions, comments on this one, this item? No. Okay, next item, number 10, consider request for full bond return for Corrigan Funeral Home, tax map 75.15-1-6, and that's for $132,000. Rich?
So this is a request from the applicant for a bond return. We have performed site inspections on this site to evaluate the status of the construction. Based on our inspection, all the site improvements required pursuant to the board's site plan approval have been completed, and we recommended that the bond be released. The planning board agreed to that on the November 28th planning board meeting.
They did a beautiful
They
job.
did a nice job.
Beautiful
No,
job.
they did. Well, that's good. Okay, any further questions, comments for the engineer?
Nope.
Okay, there being none, thanks, Rich.
Thank you, have a good evening.
Thank you, you too. Okay, the 11th and final item on the work session agenda is to consider request of a 30-day waiver notice of requirements, Section 64 of the New York State Alcohol Beverage Control Law, with respect to a liquor license for 376 Route 6 Corp., DBA Mojitos Mexican Bar and Grill. If you're not familiar where this location is, it's across from the former Ridgeview Auto Body on Route 6. I believe it was an Italian restaurant at one point.
Fratelli's.
Fratelli's? Yep, that's where this is
Oh, you
going.
mean it used to be a bowling lane
It was a
years and
bowling
years
alley,
ago?
yeah.
Aunt Pat.
The Village Barn.
Yeah, Aunt Pat
Gambelli's
owned
and the
that.
Village Barn.
Yeah.
Roxanne's.
Roxanne's? Yeah, it was a bunch of them.
All right.
Susie, that's where you used to hang out, right?
We will not
Roxanne's
discuss,
and-
we won't discuss that.
Okay, let's not discuss that. All right. So, yeah, so you're all familiar where it is. Yeah, we looked over this application the other day, Greg and I did, when he came in on Monday. There was one minor change that we made to it. They didn't have the building owner's street address on here. They just had a P.O. box, and so we called the attorney who is representing the property owner, and she confirmed that the building owner's street address is 376 Route 6, Mahopac. That's where the beer distributor is located, the beverage distributor. It's right there. So everything else
You don't have to have a telephone number?
for the business owner,
I mean, you may not.
oh, we got it.
Oh, no,
84,
I don't have
this one here,
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay.
right? Is that the, one? Yeah,
I didn't have it
that's
over
it,
here.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we've done this before. It's a 30-day waiver notice for the State Liquor Authority. This is for comments that the town board may have with respect to the application. So if the board waives the 30-day notice, they can move forward with processing the application. Any questions, comments, concerns about this agenda item?
No.
No, there being none, that completes the town board work session for this evening. At this time, I'm going to open up the floor to public comment just on agenda items only that we covered. Just on agenda items only at this time. Does anybody have any comments on that? Or if not, we'll move on to the open forum, new business portion of the meeting. Must be a resident, property owner, business owner to comment at this segment of the meeting. So new business, open forum only. It's a 3-minute comment period. Come on up at this time if you have new business. You guys, Freddie, you here for new business?
Well, I don't know if it's new business.
Okay.
This is 5-year-old business.
I think I know which one you're going to talk about. Go ahead.
Good evening, first of all. I'm Frederick Wenberg. I'm a 25-year member of the American Legion and 25-year member of the VFW. Here to find out, because we're getting dribs and drabs for the last 5 years regarding the sewer issue with the American Legion. We've heard something lately that it's supposed to happen in the springtime. Michael, I'm just going to, hopefully that this will happen this 2019. But we just don't get good information. I don't know if it's my people or the town people or the lawyers, and I can't get myself into that realm of coming or going, you know? And I'm just wondering if you folks have anything that I may be able to pass along to the membership up at the Legion regarding this. I know one thing, $22,000 in porta-johns since this started. Porta-johns only. Forget about the rentals in the halls, okay? And other things we had to change too, instead of washing glasses in the dishwashers, which saves a lot of money, plastic cups and plastic this, plastic forks, knives, spoons, thousands of dollars. We're there to exist, you know, adequately, not to make millions and stuff, but this has really put a burden on us, so I just wondered if anybody has anything to say regarding this situation.
Freddie, I could tell you, and I'm being honest with you, it's disgraceful that it's taken this long. And it's not because of anybody on the town, related to the town at all. It's, we're not delaying this. We're trying to get it done. But the problem is communicating with the other side has been horrible. You know, it's just, it takes forever. Communication coming back to us. I called the attorney that's representing the property owner as early as today. Left him a message, he didn't get back to me. So that's what we're up against, is that sharing of information and updating us with respect to the legal aspect of it is slow coming in. But I'm just going to ask our town attorney, Greg, to just give a quick update if he can and let us know where we are with this, Greg.
Just to clarify, and I don't think the gentleman speaking tonight has been here at meetings before asking, but the process is that there is drainage on the property. It's next to the Legion property. Their sewer pipe also goes across that parcel to Route 6. The town was going to replace drainage, do drainage work that needed to be done. At that time, with an easement agreement from the owner, the town would have the authority to do that work, and the owner would also enter into an easement agreement with Legion. Okay? The easement agreement, from the town's perspective, is all that this board really has control over. It was sent to the owner's attorney several months ago. I got it back, I believe, on the 18th of November. And a couple days later, I sent my comments to what was returned to me. And I think on the 20th, and I'm waiting to hear back. That's where it's at.
Yeah. So
See, that's a problem.
Other than the timeline, no, in terms of the specifications for the construction, the work that's to be done that Mike's office agreed on and the engineering department agreed upon, those are all remaining unchanged. There's some technical stuff in the easement that I didn't feel that it was appropriate to bind the town to. It was very atypical for a drainage easement, and that's all ours is a drainage easement. And I don't think they should be objectionable from the owner's standpoint, but I can't do anything until I get a response, and that was at least 3 weeks ago. And I'm waiting. And I know Kenny, I don't have a problem with Kenny talking to that particular attorney. I've given authorization to speak to Kenny outside of my presence, and I know Kenny has on several occasions reached out to try and move it forward. And it's gone in fits and starts.
it's very frustrating.
I know.
It's very, for everyone involved.
It's so
You know,
ridiculous.
We've made calls, Councilman Borelli's made calls, trying to get this done. We've all been working collectively, we have, to try to push this forward, because I know it's been so long.
I know.
And it's horrible.
Women
that-
are really giving me a hard time, Kenny.
I know, well, we don't want to go in a porta potty.
No, who
I'm
wants to
with
use
you.
a porta potty?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's-
really
But
feel
it-
bad.
it-
All right,
It's
but-
frustrating
I
because, like,
appreciate anything that.
yeah, we're told it's going to happen, and then all of a sudden, at the 11th and a half hour, it doesn't happen.
It's frustrating.
I mean,
It's-
We thought it
I
happened
would-
about 3 months ago.
we thought it happened like 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago, and then 1 year ago. I mean, it's just, for a community like us.
I don't want to have to pull a
it's-
permit out and start protesting in front of
I
the
know,
store.
It's-
and
I know.
so-
And that's where I'm going.
I
So,
know.
Tell me every-
Can we
But I
just,
know, though, I'm sorry, Susie, but I know, Freddie, I know that's what you may want to do, but I also know that you guys really don't want to do that.
I
You
don't wanna do that.
Because you don't want to hurt his tenants.
Well,
His feelings.
His business owners that are in there. His feelings, never mind about his feelings. You don't want to hurt, you don't want to hurt the people who are renting from him.
And I happen to know somebody that owns that cafe,
sorry,
but
Sue.
anyway.
no, I was just saying, is there any way that we can just just take the property by something, like eminent, I don't know, we always seem to take property from something, like eminent domain or something. I mean, this has been going on for so long.
You'd be able to do that.
I gotta be honest with you, my heart bleeds for you guys, it's so sad, I'm probably gonna get yelled at for saying this, but the community really needs to get behind you guys. They really do, they need to know, Bob, the
I'm not
community
sure that
needs to
the
get behind them.
community is well aware of the status that it is.
Talk to Bob.
No, I think you've
He-
run
he-
stories.
he-
MAPAC News is...
Yeah. Yeah,
Can you write another
write
one?
another, interview them,
Yeah.
write another,
Fred,
get it on the front page again.
Fred,
right, Greg, I'll
Susie
stop.
makes a good point.
I'll
I
stop.
agree with her. You know,
Spell out what it's cost you in dollars and cents.
I don't have all the figures, even though I'm the
Just
treasurer, but I do have that figure.
Give Bob a rough idea of what you've laid out and why you had to do that, and see how the community responds.
No, completely.
Thank you.
And lost revenue,
and-
estimated lost revenue.
And that alternative that you really don't want to do, it might be coming down to that.
Really, you're at that
I'm
time of year.
retired now, I can spend a lot of time on
Let
it.
him know what it's cost you.
Yeah. I talked to John. I spoke to John Tegeter
Yes.
a few days ago.
Communicate with John.
So, yeah, thanks for being here, guys. We're trying. We all are, so hopefully this will get done. And the highway superintendent is involved, and he's willing to help out, too. So we'll get it done. All right. Let's hope. All right, is there anyone else here for new business, open forum portion of the meeting? Anybody back there? Okay, all right. No, there being none, I do have a couple of announcements that I have to make. Yeah. Oh, you have something too, Sue?
Do.
Oh, ladies?
I
go ahead.
do,
Go, you go
yes.
first.
Joyce Pacone, I have a privilege of reading this again. The Putnam Arts Council, which is located on 521 Kennecott Hill Road in Hopac, they have their crafts in the gallery, and it's starting Saturday, December 8th through Friday, December 21st. The shopping hours are noon through 5 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday, with extended hours on Thursday, December 13th and 20th until 8 p.m. If you are a member of the Putnam Arts Council, you get a 10% discount. There's free admission and parking. And I have to tell you guys, I go there every year, and it's just absolutely amazing, all of the stuff that you can get up there. There's annual craft showcase and sale featuring the incredible works of 60-plus regional artisans. So please stop by the Putnam Arts Council and starting Saturday, December 8th, and pick up some gifts for loved ones. Or like council people.
Or council people? Oh, no.
Go ahead.
Go to Dunkin' Donuts and we'll get you a coffee there. All right, so this announcement, I actually put it on Facebook the other day, and it's on our website. We were notified by Putnam County that the electronic waste container that's right up the street here on McAlpin Avenue, the vendor that's been providing that service to the county and all the towns in Putnam County, they're no longer interested in renewing their contract, which means they're pulling the e-waste container out of there at the end of the month. So the last day that the residents have to bring their e-waste to that container where they can drop it off is December 22nd. So December 22nd is a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. will be the final day. If you have e-waste at home and you've been delaying bringing it to the e-waste container to dispose of it, get it there before the end. Well, December 22nd is the last day you could bring it there. So if you want to get rid of it by then. If you don't bring it to the container, you're going to wind up probably paying to dispose of it somewhere else. So Putnam County Department of Health is currently in the process of seeking a new vendor to provide the e-waste service to the residents of Putnam County and the town of Carmel. For additional information, you can contact the Putnam County Department of Health at 845-808-1390. It's the county has the contract with the vendor, the town doesn't, but it's provided to all of the towns. The only thing that we pay for is to staff it every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., but that's going to end December 22nd unless there's a new vendor that's found by the county. So wanted to make that, the residents aware of that. Bob, can you run something, or did you already? It's in this week's paper? All right, great, thank you. All right, and also there's a notice of vacancy that I read last week. The town board of the town of Carmel is looking for an interested and qualified person to fill a vacancy for the Carmel Planning Board. Please submit a letter of interest and resume to the supervisor's office by December 28, 2018, addressed to Supervisor Ken Schmidt, Carmel Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York. You could fax it to us if it's easier for you at 845-628-6836, or email it to amp2, Adam Mary Peter 2, @ci.carmel.ny.us, and that's by order of the Carmel Town Board. So there's a vacancy that will exist at the end of this year, and we're seeking to fill that with a qualified candidate. That's for the Carmel Planning Board. The town of Carmel is also seeking a town historian. So if there's any history buffs out there that would like to become the next town historian, please contact my office at 628-1470, and we'll go over with you what the responsibilities and duties are of the town historian. It's a non-paid position, but it's a great position if you're interested in local history. Our previous town historian had to leave. She resigned due to some personal reasons, so we're trying to seek that position as town historian. So if you're interested in becoming more involved in the history of the town of Carmel, that's a great position for you to be in. And by law, we have to have a town historian, so I'm going to keep announcing that until we fill that vacancy. Okay? So, you have something else? You don't have to be a history buff, but... Yeah.
Teach others about the history of our town.
Yeah, yeah, and the town...
20-year-old who's out of college who's just...
Looking for something to do and get involved.
Have anybody? Yeah, it's a great, listen, the town, learning about the history of the town of Carmel, there's a lot of history here. So if you want to learn more about it, great position. So let me know, 628-1470. If you know of anybody, pass it on to them that the town of Carmel is seeking to appoint a town historian. Anybody else have anything?
Holiday season, Toys for Tots, Candy Cane
Oh,
Run,
yeah.
Mahopac Falls. We're getting great turnout on donations. If you see a bin anywhere, whether it be a toy or a dollar that you could donate, every dollar goes a long way. It's greatly appreciated. Unfortunately, there have been some concerns. So if there is someone who comes in and they do not have a Toys for Tots jacket or hat on, then don't give them any toys, please. So the sheriff is looking into things, and we are making sure that everything that we do collect gets distributed locally. It's one of the things that we pride ourselves on, is every dollar that we raise and every toy that we collect gets donated to a local child so that they could celebrate. Again, non-denominational, so any religious background, as long as you have a child that needs it, we try to make sure that you get it. If you're an organization that has members that need it, let us know. We'll make sure that we get it out for you. And thank you. And the community does an amazing job. We are overwhelmed year after year by the support that we get. So thank you to everybody who donates.
Great. Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you. Bob, I'll get you one of these slides for the historian position too, okay? Just wait, if you can run it in maybe next week's paper also. All right, we'll get you something for the historian. Great. All right, that's it. We are done. No executive session tonight, so we're going to close the meeting right from here. We're going to be meeting next Wednesday for a town board voting meeting. So I need a motion to close the meeting.
Absolutely. So moved, seconded.
So
All
moved
the
by
above.
Councilman Schneider, seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Good night, everyone. Be well. We'll see you next week. Freddie, thanks for being here. Night.